So our next topic is about the criminological classification of crime. First, we have the acquisitive crime. As to the result, when we say acquisitive crime, when the offender acquires something as a consequence of his criminal act. These are offenders or where the offender derived material gain from the crime. Let's say, for example, theft. When Mr. Alpha went inside the house of Mr. Bravo without the latter's consent and took the valuable items, so he gained something from the criminal act he made, and that is the valuable items. Because when we say acquisitive, they is they tend to seek and to gain something. With greediness, they have the eager to get something from their act. Okay? Of course, pag pumasok ka sa bahay ni Alpha for the purpose of taking the valuable items, so kumbaga there is an effect of your actions, and the effect is the taking the valuable or the valuable items were already been uh, taken by these offenders. Next is the extinctive. When the result of crime act is a distraction. A good example here is when uh, the group of robbers forcibly entered the house of Mr. Alpha. And when Mr. Alpha noticed that there are persons who are inside his house, resulted into a crossfire. So Alpha got hurt, valuable items were also damaged. So the effect of their act resulted into a distraction. It resulted to a distraction. Unlike in the acquisitive, it is more on possessing something. But this extinctive crime produces a serious effect, which includes the destruction of properties, damage of properties, resulting to causing uh, injuries to the victims, pag sinunog yung bahay. Okay? That is a good example. Next classification is the seasonal crime. Pero it naman is as to the time or period of commission. Because there are at times na they have their target when they may implement and launch their plan. Let's say, for example, during December, diba? Nung wala pang pandemic, they know that there are many tourists, may visitors, so marami silang pwedeng matarget. Pwede nilang naguso na yung mga shoplifting, naguso na yung nakawan. So, doon sa mga tourist spot, na kung saan makakakuha sila mga target, doon napunta naman yung mga members of gang. Okay? So they tend to victimize those tourists because they are not aware about the area, and they don't have any knowledge that they will be victimized by this thief. Okay. Sometimes also, yung sinabi ko, during rainy seasons, and most especially kapag yung tao ay may pasok pa rin kahit na naulan, it is easy for them to get inside because no one will see them, because those possible witness are already with their are already went inside their house. Okay, kasi maulan, papasok sila sa kanilang bahay, and the existence of witness or witnesses ay pwedeng wala. Okay? So, depende doon sa kanilang target. Kaya nga tinawag na seasonal crime. Okay? Committed only in a certain period of the year. During Christmas break, during the summer vacation perhaps, karamihan kung saan yung maraming turista. Next is the situational crime. It is committed only when given a situation conducive to its commission. This happens when there is an opportunity to implement or to launch the plan. Let's say, for example, yung trabaho ni Mr. Alpha is taking valuable items from the victim. One time, when Mr. Alpha has a chance, mayroon siyang napansin na pwede niya ma-target and no one can notice him, and implemented his plan or took the valuable items of his victim. Because of the opportunity, naging successful. Okay, that is the situational crime. Depende kapag the commission of crime, implementation of crime is conducive and as well as convenient at that moment, that no one can notice him, the victim cannot notice him, no one can see him, no authority can caught him. Okay, so depends on the opportunity. Okay, but then there is already the there is already criminal mind on the part of Mr. Alpha. Okay. Next is the instant crime committed in the shortest possible time. That, di ba, mayroon pag minsan na wala sa isipan natin, only then the criminal intent or the criminal notion may cross in our mind when we say let's say for example, may nakita kang pera dyan, diba? Sabi mo, uy, whoever found the treasure is the owner of the treasure. But then it is still a crime when you found something that you did not give it to the rightful owner. My point here is, there are times na wala sa isipan mo nakukuha ng pera. Pero because na andyan na and you really needed a money at that time, so what you did, kinuha mo yung pera. Another good example when a crime can be committed in just a few seconds, because there is also times that those people who have a criminal intent, who could able to implement it in a shortest possible time only. These are most likely, maybe perhaps, from mga expert, where their profession is doing criminal activities mostly happen dun sa mga thieves, because they can do it in just a shortest possible time. Okay? Nagkasalubong kayo lang dun sa taong stranger na hindi mo kilala, and just a few seconds na nagkasalubong kayo, you notice that your wallet is no longer inside of your bag. So, the commission of the crime was made in just a short possible time. Okay? Next is the episodal crime. It talks about as to the length of commission. A serial crime committed by series of acts within a lengthy period of time. So these are the crimes that are repetitive in nature. Let's say, for example, serial murder, serial rape, and serial arsons are regarded as a series of crime or serial crimes. So these are being committed these are being repeatedly committed. Let's say, for example, in a year. Okay, there are a series of murder committed by the person, series of rape committed by the person in just 1 year. Okay, so that is the physical crime. In the next year, series of robbery, series of arson, okay, kaya tinawag na serial crime yung episodal crime. Next is the static crime, which is committed only in one place. Crime is being committed in one place when the person is committing a crime where the place of his target is only in one place. Only in one place. A crime that is being committed, crimes that are being committed in just one place only. Next is the continuing crime. It is committed in several places. Right? It goes or moves around the regions. And a good example of continuing crime is the libel. Continuing crime also, yes, a good example of that is the libel. However, it also includes herein the commission of crimes in different places, in different places, and different areas of different places. Next is the rational crime in terms to the use of mental faculty. It is committed with intention. Offender is in full possession of his mental faculties, meaning the person may gain something, may get a reward of his action. Okay, so they choose and to engage criminal activities because they're expecting to gain something. Okay, they know that it is prohibited by our existing law, but they choose to engage and to commit crimes by reason that they can gain something. A good example is to gain money. Next is the irrational. Committed without intent, the offender does not know the nature of his act. There are some people who committed a crime, but not in the full capacity of mental state, that at the time of the commission of crime, he was not conscious, or perhaps that person controlled by emotion, di ba? Pero pag minsan kapag nakita mo yung asawa na nakikipag karoon ng sexual intercourse, nagkakaroon ng sabihin na uh, dumilim yung kanyang paningin. And perhaps also, meron yung pagkakataon na they are suffering from mental illness. At that time, umatake yung kanyang sakit sa utak, which resulted to injuring other people. Okay? So committed without intent. But there was no intention at the time or at the moment when the crime is committed. It happened only when perhaps the emotion controlled him or the anger controlled him, or perhaps that person is suffering mental illness. Next, as to the social status of the offender, we have the white collar crimes. It is committed by a person of responsibility in the course of his occupation who uses his power and authority to commit crime. A good example when a person is a has or designated with a high-ranking position and use it to gain money and maybe to committed graft in corruption or maybe plunder. He used his profession to gain something and to commit crime. Okay? That may be against or that is against the interest of the employer kung saan siya nagtatrabaho. White collar crimes. Ginagamit nila yung trabaho nila, ginagamit nila yung kanilang position to gain something and to commit crimes such as graft and corruption and as well as plunder. So most likely ito yung mga trabaho na may mataas kang tungkulan, mababa man, pero he uses his profession to gain something which is against the interest of the employer, which is also against the law. Next is the blue collar crimes. It is committed by ordinary professionals to maintain their livelihood. A good example when a person who don't have yet or who don't have a sufficient money to sustain his or her daily needs, they tend to commit crimes or even accept orders from the boss of the gang or boss of the syndicate in exchange of to get money just to only sustain his or her daily needs. Okay, so committed by ordinary professional just to maintain their livelihood. They accept the money in exchange of the orders, or they will accept the orders in exchange of money, even though it is prohibited or it is being prohibited by the law. Next, as to the standard of living of the criminals, crimes of the upper world. It is committed by an individuals belonging to the upper class of society. These are the people who belong to the social class composed of people who hold the highest social status. Usually, these are the wealthiest people, yung mayayaman, but they are engaged in criminal activities. They are not satisfied to what wealth they have, so they are most probably will engage in even it is prohibited by the law, they tend to engage in criminal activities just to gain perhaps wealth and as well as power. Next is the underworld crime. It is committed by members of the lower or underprivileged class of society. These are a group of class of society who are belongs to a lower class. Ito yung mga who have difficulty in living, so they engage to commit crimes just to overcome their poverty. Okay, ito yung na may mahirap who will engage in criminal activities. Next is the crime by imitation. It is a copycat crime committed by mere duplication of what was done by others. Well, it happens during in the movies, televisions, or what they have saw, or if they witness something, how the manner was executed, or how the crime was committed, the manner how the crime was executed. Okay, so they will going to do it also the same the way how the person did so when they committed the crime. Okay, or sometimes what they also watch in the TV or YouTube or Facebook, they tend to uh, copy it and then execute their plan. Okay, nung nakita nila maganda pala, it, it, it is hard for the authority to notice them. It is the authority will not quote them, so perhaps there's a possibility that they may copy it and then they will implement it, duplicating what was done by others. Next is the crime by passion. It is committed because of the fit of great emotion such as anger. It's the emotion controls them. It's the anger that controls them. Okay? So, meron yung pagkakataon na yung sinabi ko din kanina that there are some people who committed the crime because they were being uh, under the anger at the time when they committed the crime. So that is the crime by passion. It's the emotion that controls them, that controls their mind. Then occupational or service-related crime, it is committed rendering all service to satisfy the desire of another. Let's say, for example, there's nothing to worry about, boss. I will do whatever I can do just for you, boss. Okay, so it is not satisfying the desire of the offender, but satisfying the desire of the person who instructed him or who ordered him to commit a crime. And then next criminological classification of crime is the occupational service. Okay? Occupational service related crime. It is committed by rendering all service to satisfy the desire of another. Yung sinabi natin kanina, it will not satisfy the desire of the person who is the one who personally perpetrating the crime, but to satisfy the desire of the one who instructed him. What is the distinction between criminal and delinquent? Defining what is a criminal first. Okay? Because delinquent is the child in conflict with the law, CICL. It's not juvenile. We don't call it as juvenile delinquent, but child in conflict with the law, CICL. So who is a criminal? On the basis of the definition of crime, a criminal may be defined in three ways. First, a criminal is a person who has committed a crime and has been convicted of final judgment by a competent court. Remember, it must be tried by a competent court. When we say competent court, is the court who has the jurisdiction over the accused and over the place and over the over the place and over the accused. Okay, so who received the final judgment? But those persons who were not guilty, thus acquitted, means they are not criminal. Okay, they are not criminal. But those who received final judgment or who are being convicted by a reason that they were proven guilty and they will be placed behind bars, they are criminal. And a criminal is a person who violated a social norm or one who acted an antisocial act. Okay, the one who disrupt or disturb the social norm, who compromise the peace in the community or in the society. And criminal is the one who violated the rules of conduct due to behavioral maladjustment as we defined earlier. So what is delinquency? Delinquency can mean a particular violation like stealing a car, but it may also refer to a more general trend of acting out and violating the law, like stealing cars daily and crashing them many times over. So these are actually being done several times. Another sense of delinquency is general neglect, particularly by someone who holds a formal position. Another definition of delinquency is the minor crime, especially that is being or that are crimes that are being committed by young people. It is also portrays neglect of one's duty. So these are being committed by young people, those who are below 18 years old, okay, or below 15 years old. So who is a juvenile? Is a person who has not attained his 18th birthday. His 18th birthday. Let me give you a scenario. When Mr. Romeo, who is 16 years old, but acted with discernment, is he liable if he committed a crime? Is he liable on the crime he committed, even he is under 18 years old? Yes or no? The answer is yes. Even he is below 18 years old, but above 15 years old, wherein Mr. that person is a 16 years old but acted with discernment, then therefore is liable on the crime he committed. Again, when a person acted with discernment, but when that person acted without discernment, he is exempted from criminal liability. Automatically, yung below 15 years and below are actually automatically exempt from criminal liability. But those above 15 but below 18 years old, discernment must be determined. Okay, because when we say discernment, acted with discernment, has the capability to discern things, he has the capability to judge well whether it is correct or not. But those persons who don't have no capacity to discern things, then it will fall under the child uh, definition that they will be exempted from criminal liability. Okay, so when Mr. Romeo, who is 16 years old but acted without discernment, committed the crime, he is not liable, or he will not be, rather, he will not be put into, or will be, uh, be accused and receive final judgment and to be placed behind bars. Okay. However, they will be directed to the DSWD for the appropriate action. So what is the distinction between juvenile delinquency and juvenile delinquent? Juvenile delinquency, it refers to criminal acts performed by juveniles, while juvenile delinquent, one who repeatedly commits crime. It is an when juvenile delinquency, it shows the acts, okay, that are being performed by these young people. But juvenile delinquent, we are referring to the person who repeatedly commits crime, a person who is young, who repeatedly committing crime. And what is the distinction between crime versus delinquency? Because it was mentioned a while back, what is juvenile delinquency? It refers to the acts being performed by the juvenile. So what makes them different with the crime? Crime is an act that breaks criminal code which is created by the society through written law. Delinquency and deviance can be acts that merely break cultural law or norms, while delinquency usually is specific and descriptive of age. The legal concept of delinquency simply states which type of behavior is forbidden by law and which state for which age group of children enforced. So it determines the persons who committed the crime, the age of the person who committed the crime. So when a person who is 18 years old and above, the acts he committed can be regarded as crime. But those offenders who are below 18 years old acted without discernment, those acts he committed, even it is against the law, it is called delinquency. Okay? So that makes them different. Well, depends on the age of the offender. If it is 18 years old, is the one who committed unlawful acts, it is crime. But when it is child who committed the crime, who committed the unlawful acts, it is delinquency. So, what is victimless crime? When we say victimless crime, involves only the participants and do not directly harm others. No one to be blamed but the victim itself. Yan yung sinasabi na ng victim blaming na rin. Okay? So, let's say for example, when a person joined in a criminal activities, gambling, and he lost during the gambling session. So the one to be blamed is one the person who joined the gambling. Bakit kasi sumali siya dyan? If you did not join the gambling session, perhaps you might not lost your money. Okay? A good example here is a person who are using drugs. Okay? Bakit kasi gumamit ka ng droga? And you receive the effect of the drugs. A good example ganyan. No one to be blamed but yourself. Another is when you join the prostitution and you receive STI or rapes, no one to be blamed but you. Bakit ka kasi sumali? Even gambling, if you lose during the gambling session, it's your loss. You should be responsible thereof. You should be the one to be blamed, no one else. Another classification of criminals is the acute criminal. It is the one who violates criminal law by impulse or due passion to fit, due to fit passion. Let me remind you, based on etiology, it appears in the perhaps in history. The reason why a person committing crime is because of passion, because of perhaps anger, emotion that controls them, with tempt them to commit crime. Okay? When we say criminal, again, it's the person. It's not the act. Crime is the act, while criminal is the person. And chronic criminal is the one who acted with deliberation or premeditation. It's the one who made a plan first, who formulated a plan first, the one uh, who create a plan and initiate the plan. Okay, let's say for example, gagawa muna ako ng plano and then I will execute it at the time or at the moment if I given the chance or when I already got the information I need. Okay, yun yung chronic criminal. Dinadaan sa plano. Okay, bago ini-execute. Next is the based on behavioral. Behavioral, which is the ordinary criminal. Considered as the lowest mammal in the criminal profession, he was forced by opportunity pushed to commit crime. Like in the underworld criminal, okay, but this is based on the behavior kasi that the reason why a person committing crime is because they were being forced. They have nothing to do to protect themselves but to accept the orders. Okay? Kaya yung parang tao-taohan lamang, you need to follow, otherwise they will be punished or they will be killed. Next is the organized criminal. They have degree of organization to enable them to commit crimes without being detected and committed to specialized activities which can be operated in large-scale business. Ito naman ay malalaking grupo that they have their hierarchy structure, like in our country there is president, vice president. They have also the boss and their boss, and each rank has its own designated functions. So these are groups who tend to commit criminal activities to earn money. Okay, they will earn money no matter what crime or what they may cause. What most important and what matters to them is to earn money. Okay. Next is the professional criminal, one who is engaged in criminal activities with high degree of skills. He uses crime to maintain a living. These are this is a person who is an expert of a certain field, like for example, a good sniper, a good shooter. They are being hired and they are being paid with the highest pay because of their skills. Okay. Another also, these are the technicians, IT experts who can give them and provide them a greatest that will bring the organization successful. And based on mental attitude, active criminal is the one who committed crime due to aggressiveness. Ito naman yung mga uh, one who is who commit in an impulsive manner, usually due to aggressiveness behavior of the offender. It has something to do also with the first one that we had discussed, mm, the acute criminal. But acute criminal is based on the etiology, but this time is based on mental attitude. Active criminal or active aggressive criminal. Pareho lang din yun. Next is the passive criminal, one who commits crime because they are forced by a reward or promise is or because of money. Okay? They have nothing else to defend themselves because they were being forced, they were being intimidated, they are being intimidated, they are being forced, or because they were being forced by reason of reward or promise. Okay? If you are going to kill this person, I will give you a lot of money. I will give you my mansion. I will give you a life that no one else has experienced yet. Yan yung mga promises. I give you a treasure. That could be a reward. Okay? So, ito naman yung parang money hungers, some of them. They tend to accept orders just to have money. And another is the socialized delinquent criminals. Yung isa kanina, ito yung passive criminal or passive inadequate criminals. And one is socialized delinquent criminals or socialized criminals. Those who are normal in their behavior but merely defective in their socialization process. Individual with defective socialization process or development, thus he lacks proper moral values or ethical standards. This group belongs the educated, respectable member of society who may become criminal on account of the situation they are involved. Okay? So the others are most likely mixed with the groups. They are, let's say, for example, they can be syndicated or syndicate or even gangs who tend to cause um, problems in the society by um, giving a or by destroying the peace in the community or in the barangay. And on the basis of activities, meron din tayong professional criminals, those who earn their living through criminal activities that we have just mentioned, and then accidental criminals, those who commit criminal acts as a result of anticipated circumstances. The, they are the time at when they committed, when the time. This may involve the culpa, negligence, or um, imprudent that we just discussed earlier. Ah, because of lack of foresight, lack of skills, it resulted to a serious physical injury. It resulted to an unexpected effect of its action. Next is the habitual criminals, those who continue to commit criminal acts for such diverse reasons due to deficiency of intelligence and lack of self-control. The person who keeps on committing crime for more than 10 years, who keeps on repeating crimes just to satisfy its desires. But these are the people who truly keeps on committing crime. And situational criminals which are intermixed with legitimate economic activities that they will only uh, but but these are criminals who constantly in trouble with legal authorities because they commit robberies, larcenies, and embezzlement, which are intermixed with legitimate economic activities. They are not actually criminals, but they tend to kumbaga, show their stubbornness. They are being stubborn. They are trying to cause troubles with the authority. But then they are still committing crimes. Okay, but still they are still criminal. It was mentioned that they are not actually criminals, but still a criminal because they are still committing crime.